Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our 7th annual Olami Manhattan Gala, celebrating 12 years in counting in New York City. And it is not lost on us that this is the 3rd year of our gala while we are at war. And I still haven't put my tuxedo back on for that. I'm waiting for the day, God willing, soon. But I'm asking that, let tonight serve as a collective prayer of sorts for the safety of our soldiers, for the safety of Israelis that are living under missile barrage as we speak, and for the Jewish communities worldwide. I think our presence tonight and our community that we've created that's here, let it serve as a tefillah, as a prayer that should be heard on behalf of the Jewish people. Thank you all for coming. The theme tonight, if you noticed on the invitations, is called An Evening Beneath the Stars. So it doesn't take long in the Torah, right in the beginning, for the message to be rolled out. The sun and the moon are created on the 4th day, and the Torah calls them the 2 great luminaries. And they're made of equal strength, we're taught, both shining their own light at the same level. And yet moments later in the Torah, we see that the moon had been diminished. The sun's power is still intact while the moon is relegated into darkness, only able to reflect the light of the sun. So the Talmud in Chulin teaches us the backstory, that the moon came and complained to God and said, it cannot be that there will be one crown for 2 kings. And so the standard understanding of this story is, an explanation, is that as a punishment for the chutzpah of the moon asking such a question, it's relegated to the sidelines and it is reduced. But I heard an alternate explanation from the great Rabbi Shmuel Kamenetsky. He should be well in Philadelphia. And he said something very beautiful. He said it's not that the moon was punished and relegated. The moon volunteered. There are places in the world, and there will be places in the world, where God's light or truth cannot reach. So the moon volunteered to go there, to bring light there. And as a reward for that, and a display of love, God gave her a brilliant array of stars to accompany her on the journey. On the heels of the Oscars, where Hollywood stars are no more than productions and fleeting fancy, the true stars and our stars of the Jewish people bring light and truth and godliness into the world. In fact, into the darkness. So tonight we're here to celebrate those stars. And indeed, we live beneath their glory. Olami Manhattan is its own star in a wondrous galaxy, discovering more and more stars in the universe of Jewish people, polishing them off, giving them a shine and the chance to grow bright. And sometimes, the darker the night, the brighter and more numerous the stars. And indeed, the darkness today for us is stronger than we ever thought it would be. I recall the words of a popular podcast host, Dan Senor. He says as follows, quote, Jews don't control anti-Semitism. Instead of trying to bail out a tsunami with buckets, we should instead build an ark. If I could sum up Olami Manhattan in one image, it is the image of an ark in a sea of New York City. Maybe Greenwich Village, the waves are a bit more menacing. But it's an ark on which we sail. And he continues, the one thing we control is whether or not we choose to lead Jewish lives. It's not only is it in our control, but it's exactly what has sustained Jewish life and Jewish lives in every century. So we must invest in Judaism and Jewish peoplehood, Jewish communal life in connection to Israel. And there's only one way to do that, he says, immersion in Jewish ritual and learning with other Jews, end quote. So our greatest weapon, our greatest response is to do what they have done. They've gone back to the world's oldest hatred. So we go back to the world's oldest light. Recently, the editor-in-chief of Sperber magazine and famed New York Times columnist Bret Stephens gave his State of World Jewry address, there's such a thing, here in New York City. And it was basically a perfect infomercial for Olami Manhattan. And he said as follows, The war on anti-Semitism, which consumes tens of millions of dollars every year in Jewish philanthropy, is a well-meaning but mostly wasted effort. His words. This is the same for pro-Israel advocacy, unfortunately. The proper defense against Jew hatred is not to prove the haters wrong by outdoing ourselves with feats of altruism, benevolence, and accomplishment. It is to lean into our Jewishness as far as each of us can, irrespective of what anyone else thinks of it. The goal of Jewish life is Jewish thriving, a Jewish community in which Jewish learning, culture, ritual, Jewish concerns, Jewish aspirations, Jewish identification are central. Exactly what goes on in Olami, Manhattan, every single day of the week. We are, in Olami, a constellation of star-studded teachers, of star-studded programming, innovative, compelling, nurturing, inspiring, day in and day out, week after week, Shabbat to Shabbat. Every year, over 2,000 young Jews are involved in meaningful engagement in Olami, Manhattan. The center is packed, the schedule is full, and we are expanding as fast as we can, hoping to meet goals of going from 2,000 to 10,000, God willing. We have already doubled our Israel, Poland, and South Africa trips, and we're not stopping. As I look around this room, what a gorgeous, amazing room, with over 100 of our current students in our community that are here tonight, and friends and family and supporters numbering over 300. This galaxy, as I see it, has, does, and will continue to light up the darkness. In fact, I believe it's safe to say, if I may, on the 33rd floor of 1 State Street, we may be the highest collection of well-dressed, intentional Jews in the world. And all of New York City, perhaps the entire world below, is truly tonight beneath the stars. An evening like this does not happen without a lot of love and a lot of hard work, and I want to extend tremendous gratitude to my team at Olami Manhattan, Rabbi Blachman, who is now my partner in this endeavor, shouldering the burden and reaping the nachas, Zahava, and the incredible administrative team who put all of this together tonight. Millie, Ilana herself as a student came 10 years ago on the Poland trip. Malka, Rihanna, and Hadass. Our incredible rabbis and educators, Rabbi Kenny, who also came on the Poland trip and is now a rabbi in the organization. Rabbi Zev and Mazel Tov, the bris is Friday on their first child. Rabbi Aryeh and Rabbi Ribner, who gave his brother to my daughter in the past year also. So you see what goes on in Olami. And to Margot and Shana and Sydney to round out what I would say is the most remarkable team in the Jewish world. To our board of directors and advisory board, you are our dinner chairs tonight, and we cannot do anything without your guidance and your partnership, and I am truly, deeply grateful. And the entire team at Olami Global, but I would like to specifically call out Rabbis Cassell and Markowitz, Rabbi Butler, with whom I work extremely closely, with Miriam Tenenbaum, the Director of Development, and most significantly to you, Mr. Aaron Wolfson, and the extended Wolfson family, whose support far surpasses the nuts and bolts, and whose leadership, vision, and inspiration has no bounds. And thank you, and tonight is all in your image. Personally, to my family for all of your support, to my mother who's convinced this is her 80th birthday party, and it is, of course, and to my wife Ruthie, who got me into this mess, but she got me into it because she is Hashem's most beloved and loyal friend, and mine too. Okay. Now, tonight we draw attention, with all of our programs, you probably noticed, tonight we're drawing attention to one program in particular. One great luminary that has shined beyond all our expectations and turned out surprisingly to be the most powerful star in our sky. This is our Poland trip, a journey which is more of a paradox. It's less about Jewish tragedy. Turns out to be much more about Jewish life, love, and laughter. And our honorees tonight are all part of that journey. They are the stars we were thinking about when we named this gala. And yes, we know in our history there are yellow stars. And maybe there's a new version of such a thing today. But those are the ones that haunt us. But we know the answer. The answer is that we have the superstars that guide us. We have 2 rising stars tonight in Max Bruch and Bella Pisano. They came on last year's Poland trip and have taken the message so beautifully to heart, and you'll meet them later. We have our North Star, our guide, our hero, Mr. Mark Schonwetter, Holocaust survivor and founder of the Mark Schonwetter Foundation, bringing Holocaust education to young students around the world, and the soul of our most recent trip to Poland, as you'll learn soon. And finally, our supernova, an explosion of educational greatness, and one of my dearest friends in the world, Tzvi Sperber. We landed back here only a few weeks ago from our most recent trip, and I'd like to show you a small recap so you can get the feeling before we share with you a wonderful surprise.